Marcus Chin sat in the back row of the Galactic Military Academy's Advanced Warfare Technologies classroom, watching as his alien classmates demonstrated their species' traditional weapons. The classroom buzzed with nervous energy as each student took their turn before Instructor Vexthera, a towering Kytherian with crystalline skin that reflected the room's harsh lighting. The Zephyrian student, Kaloth, had just finished showcasing his plasma rifle, a sleek weapon that could disintegrate targets at molecular level. The demonstration left scorch marks on the reinforced testing wall, and several students clicked their approval in various alien languages. Next came Thyra, a Nexari whose people wielded energy whips that could slice through starship hulls. Her demonstration crackled with electric blue energy that made the air smell of ozone. Marcus watched each presentation with growing unease. Every weapon his classmates displayed was technological marvel worth more than most planets' annual budgets. Graviton hammers, void cannons, neural disruptors, each more advanced than anything Earth had ever produced. The human felt increasingly out of place in this room full of species that had been traveling between stars when his ancestors were still discovering fire. Fascinating displays of technological superiority, Instructor Vexthera announced, her voice carrying the metallic edge typical of her species. Each weapon represents centuries of advancement and refinement. She paused, her multifaceted eyes scanning the room until they settled on Marcus. Human Marcus Chin, you have been notably silent. What weapon technology does your species bring to this academy? The classroom fell silent. 23 pairs of alien eyes turned toward the lone human, some curious, others already dismissive. Marcus had dreaded this moment since enrollment began. While other species had been gifted provisional academy spots based on their technological contributions to the Galactic Defense Initiative, Earth had been granted membership for different reasons that remained classified and mysterious even to him. Marcus stood slowly, his human height making him shorter than most of his classmates. Instructor, my species, we approach warfare differently than others represented here. A series of clicks and whistles erupted from various students, the alien equivalent of snickering. Zywxandra, a Heliorian whose people controlled solar energy, spoke up with barely concealed contempt. Differently? Your species has not even achieved faster than light travel independently. What weapons could you possibly demonstrate that would match our technological achievements? More alien laughter filled the room. Marcus felt heat rise to his cheeks, but he maintained his composure. May I demonstrate, Instructor? Vexthera studied him with those unsettling compound eyes. You may proceed, but understand that this demonstration will be recorded and evaluated as part of your final assessment. Do you have your weapon prepared? Marcus shook his head. I need to construct it. The laughter grew louder. Several students exchanged knowing looks, their expressions suggesting they expected entertainment rather than education. Kaloth spoke in his melodious Zephyrian accent, construct it? What kind of primitive species requires battlefield weapon construction? The kind that survives, Marcus replied quietly, moving toward the front of the classroom. Instructor Vexthera raised one crystalline hand, and the room fell silent. Explain your requirements, human Chen. Marcus surveyed the classroom, his engineering mind automatically cataloging available materials. The academy had spared no expense in creating learning environments that could accommodate dozens of different atmospheric and gravitational preferences. The furniture was constructed from bioadaptive materials that could adjust density and flexibility based on user needs. I need approximately 10 minutes and access to the classroom materials, Marcus said. No additional tools or weapons. Thyra's tentacle-like appendages writhed with amusement. You plan to construct a weapon from classroom furniture? This should prove educational in demonstrating human limitations. Vexthera's expression remained neutral, but Marcus caught a glint of curiosity in her multifaceted eyes. Proceed, human Chen. The class will observe your construction process. Marcus moved to the instructor's desk first, running his hands along its bioadaptive surface. The material responded to his touch, and he began adjusting its density and flexibility. The desk was constructed from a polymer that could shift between rigid metal hardness and flexible plastic-like consistency based on electrical impulses from approved users. What is he doing? Whispered Noctar, a Gravinian whose people were known for their analytical minds. Marcus ignored the commentary, focusing on his task. He adjusted a section of the desk to maximum rigidity, then carefully worked another portion until it became flexible enough to bend without breaking. The bioadaptive material required specific pressure points and sequences to modify knowledge he had gained from studying galactic standard manufacturing protocols during his preparation for the academy. Next, he moved to the student chairs. Each chair was designed to accommodate multiple alien physiologies, which meant they contained adjustment mechanisms and structural supports that could be repurposed. Marcus selected a chair and began carefully disassembling its back support structure, extracting long, straight pieces that maintained the bioadaptive material's ability to shift between rigid and flexible states. Is he actually building something functional? Kaloth asked, his earlier amusement fading into genuine curiosity. Marcus continued working methodically. From the chair's adjustment mechanisms, he extracted what appeared to be a simple cord, actually a bioadaptive fiber designed to maintain tension while supporting various alien body weights. The cord was incredibly strong, rated for creatures weighing up to 500 Earth kilograms, yet flexible enough to stretch and return to its original length. As Marcus worked, his classmates' mockery gradually transformed into interested observation. Even the instructor moved closer, her compound eyes tracking every movement as the human shaped and assembled materials with surprising precision. The construction appears to follow a logical pattern, Noctar observed aloud. He is creating some form of lever mechanism? Marcus was now working on the most critical component. He had shaped the rigid desk material into a long, curved piece approximately 6 feet in length. The curvature was precise, calculated to provide maximum energy storage and transfer. At each end, he had attached connector points for the bioadaptive cord. It's a projectile launcher, Thyra realized, her tentacles curling with interest. But, such a primitive design, surely it cannot compare to our energy weapons? Marcus tested the flexibility of his creation, bending the curved piece and watching it spring back to its original shape. The bioadaptive material's properties made it superior to any earthwood or composite material he had ever worked with. The consistency was perfect, the energy storage potential remarkable. He strung the bioadaptive cord between the two ends of his curved launcher, adjusting the tension carefully. The completed weapon looked deceptively simple, a curved stick with a string attached, but Marcus knew its potential exceeded anything his ancestors had ever created. For projectiles, Marcus gathered several small, dense objects from around the classroom. The Academy's commitment to multi-species accommodation meant that various support structures and adjustment mechanisms were constructed from materials dense enough to affect artificial gravity fields. These small components, when removed carefully from their housings, created perfect arrows. Instructor, Marcus said, turning to face Vexthera while holding his completed weapon. I'm ready to demonstrate. The classroom had fallen completely silent. 23 alien students stared at the simple construction in Marcus's hands, trying to understand what they were seeing. The weapon appeared almost laughably primitive compared to the technological marvels they had demonstrated earlier. Vexthera studied the bow with her compound eyes, analyzing its construction from multiple angles simultaneously. Explain the operating principles of your weapon, Human Chen. Marcus held up the bow, demonstrating its components. This is called a bow. It operates on principles of stored kinetic energy and projectile physics. The curved structure stores energy when bent, then transfers that energy to a projectile, called an arrow, when released. Zyxandra's solar energy manipulation organs flickered with confusion. But, where is the power source? The energy cells? The targeting system? The power source is the user, Marcus replied. The targeting system is training and skill. The ammunition can be created from available materials in almost any environment. Several students exchanged glances that clearly questioned human intelligence. Kaloth spoke for many of them. Human Chen, with respect to your species' efforts, how can such a primitive weapon possibly compare to our advanced technologies? My plasma rifle can destroy targets at ranges exceeding 10 kilometers with perfect accuracy. Marcus nodded respectfully. Your weapon is indeed impressive, Kaloth. May I ask about its power requirements? Standard Galactic Power Cell Mark 7, Kaloth replied with pride. Provides energy for approximately 50 shots at maximum power. And replacement power cells? Must be manufactured in specialized facilities using rare materials, Kaloth admitted. But, the technological superiority, what happens when you run out of power cells in hostile territory? Marcus interrupted gently. The Zephyrian's expression shifted as he considered the question. Around the classroom, other students began to look thoughtful as they contemplated similar scenarios with their own weapons. Thyra's tentacles writhed with agitation. But surely the range and power of primitive projectile weapons cannot match our technologies? Marcus smiled. Shall we test that assumption, Instructor? Vexthera's compound eyes glittered with what might have been anticipation. She gestured toward the testing wall at the front of the classroom, the same wall that bore scorch marks from the advanced weapon demonstrations. Proceed with your demonstration, Human Chen. Marcus positioned himself at the firing line, the same distance his classmates had used for their demonstrations. The testing wall displayed a standard target, a circular pattern with scoring rings that could register impact force, penetration depth, and accuracy measurements. The wall itself was constructed from military-grade composites designed to withstand the most powerful weapons in the Galactic Defense Initiative's arsenal. He knocked his first arrow, a small dense component he had extracted from a gravity adjustment mechanism. The projectile was far from perfect, not aerodynamically designed, lacking fletching for stability, but Marcus had worked with worse materials during Earth's military training simulations. Drawing the bowstring back, Marcus felt the bioadaptive material respond to his grip. The weapon had properties unlike any bow created on Earth. The alien materials enhanced every aspect of the traditional design, storing energy more efficiently than the finest composites his species had ever developed. Fascinating construction technique, Naktar observed quietly to his neighbor. The human appears to understand material stress distribution principles despite his species' limited technological development. Marcus aimed carefully, accounting for the classroom's artificial gravity slightly lower than Earth standard, and the projectile's unconventional weight distribution. His breathing steadied as years of training took over. Earth's military academies might not have produced energy weapons, but they had maintained comprehensive training in every weapon system available, including those dismissed as obsolete by more advanced civilizations. The release was smooth, the bowstring snapping forward with a sharp crack that echoed through the silent classroom. The improvised arrow flew straight and true, striking the target's center ring with a metallic clang that surprised several students. Remarkable accuracy for such primitive targeting systems, Thyra admitted grudgingly. But Marcus was not finished. Without pause, he knocked his second arrow and drew again. This time he aimed for the edge of the previous impact point, demonstrating precision rather than simple accuracy. The second arrow struck exactly where intended, its dense material driving deep into the composite testing wall. Vexthera approached the target, her compound eyes examining the impact points closely. Penetration depth of 4.7 centimeters in military-grade composite, she announced. Impact force sufficient to defeat standard personal armor systems. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the classroom. The students had expected a demonstration of primitive technology, not effective weapon performance that matched their own advanced systems. Marcus continued firing, placing arrows in a tight grouping that would have impressed instructors at Earth's most elite military academies. Each shot demonstrated different aspects of the weapon's capabilities: accuracy, penetration, rapid firing capability. The bow's simple construction allowed for incredibly fast shooting compared to the energy weapons his classmates wielded. How rapidly can you maintain that firing rate? Kaloth asked, his earlier dismissiveness replaced by genuine curiosity. In response, Marcus drew and fired 5 arrows in rapid succession, each finding its target within a space no larger than his fist. The speed of shooting far exceeded anything the energy weapons could achieve, even with their sophisticated targeting systems. 12 arrows in 30 seconds, Marcus announced, lowering his bow. Accuracy maintained throughout rapid fire sequence. ZYX Sandra's solar organs flickered with confusion. But what happens when you exhaust your ammunition supply? Marcus walked to a nearby chair and began extracting another component from its adjustment mechanism. Within moments, he had created another serviceable arrow. New ammunition can be manufactured from available materials in under 60 seconds, he explained. No specialized facilities or rare elements required. The implications began to dawn on the alien students. Their advanced weapons required specific ammunition, manufactured power sources, and technological infrastructure to maintain operational capability. Marcus's primitive bow could potentially continue functioning indefinitely as long as suitable materials existed in the environment. Instructor Vexthera studied the target wall with obvious interest. Human Chen, demonstrate maximum range capability. Marcus nodded and moved to the back of the classroom. The distance was now nearly triple what the other students had used for their demonstrations. At this range, most handheld energy weapons would suffer significant power degradation and accuracy reduction. He selected his straightest arrow and drew the bowstring to its maximum extension. The bioadaptive material strained under the increased tension but held firm. Marcus aimed high, accounting for projectile drop over the extended distance, and released. The arrow arced across the classroom and struck the target wall with force that surprised everyone present. While not as precise as his closer shots, the impact demonstrated that the weapon remained effective at ranges where many advanced weapons would struggle. Effective range exceeds 15 meters with maintained lethality, Vexthera announced. Projectile retains sufficient force to penetrate standard armor at maximum classroom distance. Noctar's analytical mind was clearly working through the implications. Instructor, may I pose a theoretical question to Human Shen? Proceed. Human Shen, in a hypothetical scenario where all students were stranded on a primitive world without access to technological infrastructure, how long could you maintain weapon functionality? Marcus considered the question carefully. Indefinitely, assuming the planet contains suitable materials for arrow construction and bow maintenance. The basic principles can be applied using wood, bone, sinew, or even simple metals. Construction time for a new weapon would be approximately 2 hours using primitive materials, less than 30 minutes with processed materials. The classroom fell silent as the implications sank in. Every advanced weapon system represented decades or centuries of technological development, requiring manufacturing facilities, rare materials, and complex supply chains. Marcus had demonstrated a weapon system that could be recreated using materials available on virtually any habitable planet. Thyra's tentacles writhed with agitation. But, surely in direct combat, our advanced weapons would prove superior? Marcus shook his head respectfully. Different weapons excel in different scenarios. Energy weapons are superior for ship-to-ship combat, urban warfare, or situations requiring extreme range and firepower. This weapon system excels in extended campaigns, resource-limited environments, or situations requiring stealth and sustainability. Kaloth was studying his plasma rifle with new eyes. You're suggesting that weapon effectiveness depends on operational context rather than technological advancement? Exactly, Marcus replied. Every weapon system represents a series of trade-offs. Advanced technology often sacrifices sustainability and adaptability for immediate effectiveness. Vexthera moved to the center of the classroom, commanding attention from all students. Class, you have witnessed an important lesson today. Human Shen has demonstrated that technological sophistication does not automatically equate to tactical superiority. She gestured toward the target wall, still embedded with Marcus's arrows. These projectiles were created from classroom furniture in minutes. They penetrated military-grade defensive materials. They were fired with accuracy matching our most advanced targeting systems. And the weapon system can be recreated using materials available on virtually any world where you might find yourself stranded. ZYX Sandra's solar organs dimmed with what might have been embarrassment. We assumed primitive meant ineffective. A common misconception among technologically advanced species, Vexthera replied. Human Shen, explain the military philosophy behind your species' approach to weapon development. Marcus straightened, feeling more confident now that his demonstration had earned his classmates' respect. Earth military doctrine emphasizes adaptability and sustainability over technological superiority. We prepare for scenarios where advanced technology may be unavailable, compromised, or inappropriate for the tactical situation. He held up his bow, constructed entirely from classroom materials. This weapon represents principles that can be applied using any suitable materials. A soldier trained in these principles can create effective weapons from debris, natural materials, or salvaged components. The same soldier can maintain operational capability in environments where energy weapons would fail. Noctar leaned forward with intense interest. Your species deliberately maintains knowledge of primitive technologies despite having access to more advanced alternatives? We maintain knowledge of fundamental principles, Marcus corrected. Every human soldier learns basic metallurgy, chemistry, physics, and engineering. We understand how to create everything from simple tools to complex weapons using available resources. Advanced technology enhances our capabilities but never replaces our fundamental knowledge. The alien students exchanged glances, clearly reassessing their earlier assumptions about human military capabilities. The demonstration had revealed something unexpected about Earth's approach to warfare, a philosophy of self-reliance and adaptability that their technologically dependent civilizations had never considered. Instructor Vexthera observed the changing dynamics in her classroom with what might have been satisfaction. Human Shen, your demonstration raises important questions about modern military doctrine. How does your species balance technological advancement with fundamental capability maintenance? Marcus set down his improvised bow and faced the class, aware that every alien eye was now focused on him with genuine interest rather than dismissive amusement. The question Instructor Vexthera had posed touched on fundamental differences between human military philosophy and that of the galaxy's more technologically advanced species. We call it the Pyramid of Capability, Marcus began, moving to the classroom's holographic display system. With Vexthera's permission, he activated the projector and began creating a simple diagram. At the base of the pyramid are fundamental skills: hand-to-hand combat, basic tool creation, primitive weapon construction, field medicine using natural materials, survival techniques. The hologram showed a broad foundation layer as Marcus continued. The next level includes intermediate technologies, manufactured weapons, basic electronics, simple vehicles, processed materials. Above that are advanced systems, energy weapons, faster-than-light communication, artificial intelligence integration. At the top are cutting-edge technologies, quantum weapons, dimensional manipulation, temporal displacement systems. Kaloth studied the diagram with obvious confusion. But, why maintain primitive capabilities when advanced technologies are clearly superior? Marcus highlighted the pyramid's base level. Because the foundation supports everything above it. When advanced systems fail, malfunction, or become unavailable, soldiers fall back to the next level down. If that level fails, they fall back again. A human soldier maintains operational capability all the way down to the foundation level. Thyra's tentacles writhed thoughtfully. But, surely advanced civilizations are beyond such primitive concerns? Our supply chains, our manufacturing capabilities, our technological infrastructure can be disrupted, Marcus interrupted gently. Enemy action, natural disasters, equipment failure, hostile environments, any number of factors can compromise advanced systems. What happens to your combat effectiveness when your plasma rifle's power cells are exhausted and no replacement facilities exist within 100 light years? The Nexary student's expression shifted as she contemplated the scenario. Her energy whip required not just power cells but also specialized focusing crystals that were manufactured on only 3 worlds in the galaxy. Noctar, ever analytical, posed the obvious question. Are you suggesting that primitive technologies are inherently more reliable than advanced systems? I'm suggesting that simpler systems have fewer failure points, Marcus replied. This bow has exactly one moving part, the string. It requires no power source, no rare materials, no manufacturing infrastructure. It can be maintained and operated by anyone with basic training, using materials available on virtually any world. He gestured toward his classmates' weapons. Your plasma rifle, Kaloth, is undeniably more powerful than my bow. But, it depends on galactic manufacturing networks, rare element extraction, advanced power storage technology, and precision electronics. Any disruption to those systems compromises the weapon's functionality. ZYX Sandra's solar organs flickered with what might have been understanding. You are describing redundancy systems applied to military capability rather than just technology. Exactly, Marcus confirmed. Human military doctrine assumes that everything will eventually fail. We prepare for cascade failures where the loss of one system triggers the loss of others. When our most advanced weapons are unavailable, we fall back to simpler alternatives. When those fail, we fall back again. The process continues until we reach capabilities that can be maintained and operated using only human knowledge and available materials. Instructor Vexthera moved closer to the holographic display, her compound eyes studying the pyramid structure. This philosophy suggests that human military planning accounts for worst-case scenarios that most civilizations consider impossible. Not impossible, Marcus corrected. Inevitable, given sufficient time and adverse conditions. Earth's history is filled with examples of advanced civilizations losing their technological capabilities due to war, natural disaster, or economic collapse. The societies that survived were those that maintained fundamental knowledge and skills alongside their advanced technologies. The classroom atmosphere had completely transformed. Where earlier there had been condescension and amusement, now there was serious consideration of concepts that challenged basic assumptions about military effectiveness. Thyra raised one tentacle hesitantly. Human Shen, this approach must require enormous training time and resources. How can soldiers master both primitive and advanced capabilities? Marcus smiled at the question. We don't master everything. But every human soldier learns the fundamental principles underlying all our technologies. They understand basic metallurgy, so they can work with any metal they encounter. They understand combustion principles, so they can create explosives from available chemicals. They understand structural engineering, so they can construct effective weapons and tools from whatever materials they find. He picked up his bow again, demonstrating its construction. I didn't memorize how to build a bow from classroom furniture. I understood the engineering principles behind projectile weapons and applied those principles to available materials. The same knowledge allows me to construct crossbows from vehicle parts, slings from cloth and stones, or spears from metal debris. Kaloth was examining his plasma rifle with new eyes, clearly considering its complexity and dependency on external systems. Your species deliberately maintains what we would consider obsolete knowledge? We maintain foundational knowledge, Marcus emphasized. The principles behind a bow are the same principles behind a railgun, stored energy converted to kinetic projectile motion. Understanding the simple version helps us improve the advanced version and provides alternatives when the advanced version fails. Noctar leaned forward with obvious excitement. Are you suggesting that human weapons development follows a continuous path from primitive to advanced, with each level building on the previous one? Precisely, Marcus confirmed. We never abandon older technologies completely. We refine them, improve them, and integrate them with newer developments. Sometimes the combination is more effective than either technology alone. He gestured toward the target wall, still embedded with his arrows. These projectiles were created using principles humans have known for thousands of years, enhanced by material science your civilizations developed. The result is more effective than either technology could achieve independently. Vexthera studied the bow with renewed interest. Demonstrate the enhancement potential, human Chen. How would you improve this weapon using more advanced materials while maintaining its fundamental reliability? Marcus considered the question carefully. Given access to galactic standard materials, I could create a bow with dramatically improved performance. Carbon fiber composites for the frame, providing greater energy storage. Monomolecular string materials for increased durability and efficiency. Self-adjusting projectiles with basic guidance systems. The improvements would enhance effectiveness while maintaining the weapon's essential simplicity. The alien students exchanged glances as they began to understand the implications. Human military philosophy didn't reject advanced technology, it integrated advanced technology with fundamental principles in ways that maintained capability even when the most sophisticated systems failed. Zyxandra spoke slowly, working through the concept. Your species treats technology as enhancement rather than replacement of basic capabilities? That's an excellent way to phrase it, Marcus agreed. Technology enhances human capabilities rather than replacing them. A human soldier with advanced weapons is more effective than one with primitive weapons, but both are effective within their operational parameters. Most importantly, the soldier with advanced weapons can continue fighting if those weapons become unavailable. Instructor Vexthera moved to the center of the classroom, commanding attention from all students. Class, today's demonstration has revealed fundamental differences in military philosophy that extend far beyond simple weapon selection. She gestured toward Marcus's bow, then, toward the advanced weapons his classmates had demonstrated earlier. Human military doctrine appears to emphasize sustainability and adaptability over maximum technological capability. This approach has implications for extended campaigns, hostile environments, and scenarios where technological superiority cannot be maintained. The instructor's compound eyes focused on each student in turn. Consider your own species' military capabilities. What happens when your most advanced systems are compromised, destroyed, or become unavailable? How long could you maintain military effectiveness under those conditions? The question hung in the air as the alien students contemplated scenarios their civilizations had never seriously considered. Their weapons were undeniably more powerful than Marcus's bow, but they were also far more dependent on complex technological infrastructure. The silence stretched across the classroom as each alien student grappled with Instructor Vexthera's question. For species that had relied on technological superiority for millennia, the concept of cascade failure in advanced systems was both foreign and disturbing. Kaloth was the first to respond, his melodious voice carrying a note of uncertainty. Instructor, the Zephyrian Republic maintains extensive manufacturing facilities across 17 star systems. The probability of simultaneous failure is irrelevant, Vexthera interrupted firmly. Military planning must account for improbable scenarios, not just likely ones. Human Shen, explain how your species' approach addresses such scenarios. Marcus moved back to the holographic display, modifying his pyramid diagram. We plan for what we call total infrastructure collapse scenarios. These might result from enemy action, natural phenomena, or technological failures cascading through interconnected systems. He highlighted specific examples on the display. Solar flares disabling electronics. Quantum viruses corrupting manufacturing systems. Enemy forces targeting infrastructure rather than military units. Hostile environments where advanced technology cannot function reliably. Thyra's tentacles writhed with growing alarm. But, surely such scenarios are theoretical? The galactic infrastructure networks have redundancies, backup systems, which are also technological systems subject to the same vulnerabilities, Marcus pointed out. Earth's military doctrine assumes that any system created by intelligent beings can be compromised, disrupted, or destroyed by other intelligent beings. We prepare for scenarios where soldiers must operate independently of all technological infrastructure for extended periods. Noctar's analytical mind was clearly working through the implications. You are suggesting that human soldiers are trained to function as completely independent operational units? Every human soldier is trained to be a complete military unit, Marcus confirmed. Weapons construction, ammunition creation, basic medicine, communications, intelligence gathering, tactical planning, engineering, and logistics. A single human soldier, given sufficient time and resources, can theoretically rebuild an entire military capability from fundamental principles. The alien students stared at him with expressions ranging from disbelief to dawning comprehension. Their military training had focused on maximizing technological advantages and coordinating advanced systems. The idea of individual soldiers maintaining complete military capability was revolutionary. Instructor Vexthera approached the target wall and carefully extracted one of Marcus's arrows. She studied the improvised projectile with her compound eyes, analyzing its construction from multiple angles simultaneously. This projectile was created in minutes from classroom materials, she announced. It demonstrates sufficient lethality to defeat standard armor systems. Human Shen, how does this construction capability scale to larger military requirements? Marcus smiled confidently. Given appropriate materials and time, human soldiers can construct everything from individual weapons to siege engines to basic vehicles. The same engineering principles apply regardless of scale. He gestured toward the classroom around them. This room contains sufficient materials to construct dozens of bows, hundreds of arrows, basic explosives, simple communications equipment, and primitive but effective armor. A team of human soldiers could transform this academic facility into a functional military base within days. Zyxandra's solar organs flickered rapidly as she processed the implications. Your species approaches warfare as if expecting to fight campaigns on uninhabited worlds with no technological support? Among other scenarios, Marcus agreed. We also train for urban warfare in destroyed cities, extended campaigns beyond supply lines, operations in environments hostile to advanced technology, and conflicts where enemy forces have neutralized our technological advantages. Kaloth set down his plasma rifle and stared at it thoughtfully. The Zephyrian military has never considered such scenarios. Our doctrine assumes technological superiority and reliable supply lines. Most galactic civilizations operate under similar assumptions, Vexthera observed. The human approach appears unique in its emphasis on independent capability and technological redundancy. She moved back to the center of the classroom, her crystalline skin reflecting the light as she addressed all students. Class, today's demonstration has revealed crucial gaps in conventional military thinking. You have witnessed capabilities that most advanced civilizations have abandoned as obsolete. The instructor held up Marcus's improvised arrow. This projectile represents principles that predate faster than light travel, yet it remains militarily effective against modern defensive systems. The weapon that fired it was constructed from classroom furniture by a soldier whose species has not yet achieved independent interstellar capability. Murmurs of uncomfortable realization rippled through the alien students. Their technological achievements suddenly seemed less impressive when viewed through the lens of sustainability and independence. Noctar raised one appendage hesitantly. Instructor, are you suggesting that human military capabilities may be superior to our own despite their technological limitations? Vexthara's compound eyes glittered with what might have been approval of the question. I am suggesting that military superiority cannot be measured purely in technological terms. Human military doctrine compensates for technological limitations through adaptability, sustainability, and comprehensive training. The result is a military force that maintains effectiveness across a wider range of scenarios than forces dependent on technological superiority. Marcus felt a mix of pride and humility as he recognized the broader implications of the day's demonstration. Instructor, I don't want to suggest that human approaches are superior to those of other species. Different situations require different capabilities. Energy weapons excel in many scenarios where bows would be inadequate. Thyra's tentacles curled with what might have been respect. But, your weapons remain functional in scenarios where ours would be useless. That's the key insight, Marcus agreed. Military effectiveness requires matching capabilities to operational requirements. The most advanced weapon is useless if it cannot function in the required environment or cannot be maintained under field conditions. Instructor Vexthara moved to her desk and made notes in the class assessment system. Human Shen, your demonstration has exceeded evaluation requirements and provided valuable insights for your classmates. However, I have additional questions about human military philosophy. She turned to face the entire class. The Galactic Defense Initiative faces threats requiring diverse capabilities and approaches. Recent intelligence suggests potential conflicts in environments where advanced technology may be compromised or unavailable. Human military doctrine appears particularly relevant to such scenarios. Marcus straightened, sensing that the conversation was moving beyond academic demonstration into practical military planning. Instructor, what specific scenarios is the initiative considering? Classified information beyond your current clearance level, Vexthara replied. However, I can say that the initiative is reassessing military doctrine in light of emerging threats that may neutralize traditional technological advantages. The implication hung in the air like a physical presence. The galactic military establishment was confronting scenarios where advanced weapons might be ineffective or unavailable. Kaloth voiced what everyone was thinking. Are you suggesting that primitive weapons and tactics may become militarily relevant again? I am suggesting that adaptable, sustainable military capabilities may prove essential for future conflicts, Vexthara replied carefully. The initiative must prepare for scenarios where technological superiority cannot be maintained. Marcus realized that his demonstration had revealed something more significant than simple weapon construction. He had accidentally showcased military philosophy and capabilities that the galaxy's advanced civilizations had never developed. Instructor, he said slowly, is this why Earth was granted Academy membership despite our technological limitations? Vexthara's compound eyes focused on him with laser intensity. What do you think, Human Chen? The question confirmed Marcus's growing suspicions. Earth's invitation to join the Galactic Defense Initiative wasn't charity or political necessity. It was strategic recruitment of capabilities that advanced civilizations lacked. Around the classroom, alien students were beginning to understand that their assumptions about human primitiveness had been fundamentally wrong. The species they had dismissed as technologically backward possessed military capabilities that might prove essential for galactic defense. Marcus picked up his bow, constructed entirely from classroom materials yet militarily effective against advanced defensive systems. The simple weapon represented something profound, a military philosophy that the galaxy desperately needed but had almost forgotten. Class dismissed, Vexthara announced. All students will submit detailed analyses of today's demonstration, focusing on implications for modern military.